Should we all just start the YouTube with our heads down like this?
Sorry, I'm trying to get the content.
Welcome back. Welcome in to the Lion's Share podcast, recapping the Commanders in the NFC Divisional round. Obviously, this is a somber one. This one sucks. We hate to do these. Last year we obviously had the team make it all the way to the NFC Championship. Heartbreaking loss there. We all were pretty optimistic about what this year was going to be. And now where do we sit? We're probably going to talk about that in this episode as far as the window, the door, whatever you want to call it. Dan, Aaron, Ben, Jared, everything that happened and where we see this going from here, basically, because these are the tough ones. We only had 2 losses this year for the Lions and 1 in the playoffs. And so we're not used to this. This doesn't feel normal to us. So we're not going to be as structured with this. It's just going to be the guys talking. That's all it's really going to be. And we know everybody's kind of grasping for things right now. Everybody's feeling pretty numb in a lot of emotions about how well the year was in the regular season and how quickly it was taken away from us in the postseason. So here we are once again with the boys. Guys, I don't want to oversimplify it. There's a lot to break down, and everybody's online discussing what they think is the reason why the Lions didn't come up victorious yesterday. But for me, it was just they never had complimentary football. And that's a team that we've seen all year be very good at being complimentary. Defense helps out the offense. Offense helps out the defense. Battled through so much with the grit and the injuries, and just felt like they weren't ready for it last night. And then Amit goes down and couple turnovers from Goff, and that was all she wrote. They just couldn't overcome the injuries and shooting themselves in the foot.
Gross, by the way. Oh my God.
Oh, Amik?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad.
Oh,
Noodle arm.
Noodle arm. Yeah, that was looked at the Lady Lion and said, "Did you just see that completely unsupported arm there?" He said, "No, I missed it." I said, "Good for you. I can't get it."
You caught it fast, Andrew. You texted us right away. I didn't see it. I thought maybe he just got like a stinger or something. You said it right away.
No, dude, the way he was laying on the ground, half his arm was just like completely unsupported, and you could see the split. It looked like I don't know if you've ever seen the videos of people arm wrestling online, and then their arm just snaps. That was like the snap that it looked like, and it gross.
You said it, Ben, and I'm basically just reiterating what Dan said. There's just no complimentary football last night, and we've seen them win when Jared Goff has been really bad and the defense has been really good. We've seen them win when the defense has been really bad and Jared Goff has been really good. We've never seen them win when both are bad, and that's what we saw last night. Goff was bad, and the defense was really, really bad, and it just felt like their offense is just so high-powered. It kind of kept them in it, but didn't really feel like they were in it. It felt like halfway through the third quarter it was kind of over for some reason. Just like a weird kind of like they can't stop the Commanders whatsoever. We're trying to do a trick play, and JMO doesn't have the football experience to say like, yep, just going to eat this one. Not that like it just felt weird, and yeah, just no complimentary football whatsoever yesterday.
It was in disarray. Everybody nobody was sharp out there, outside of a few guys. And I told some other shareholders, it felt like we got the worst version of some of these guys. We got the worst version of Goff, not as bad as he was against the Texans, but a bad version of Goff. Ben Johnson called a pretty solid game, but like you said, the trick play down 10, that just takes you completely out of it. The 12 men on the field, it just didn't look like a team that we knew from this season. Mistakes that they didn't make all season all of a sudden happen in the divisional round. And that's the last time you can afford to have, you can never afford to have it. But in the playoffs, you certainly can't get away with it. I think Brady was hinting at it. It's really hard to overcome all these things. And it was just too much. It was a mountain out there, and a really bad time for these players and these coaching staff to have a stinker at the worst time.
Yeah, and to just add on the non-complimentary football, the offense couldn't help out the defense. Defense obviously could not stop anything. but they couldn't get off the field, and the offense didn't help them out at all. When they scored quickly with flashy plays like they normally do. But my God, the defense isn't stopping anything. At least give them 10 minutes to breathe on the sidelines. Like, give them a second to recoup. The offense would go out there, score quickly, defense right back out on the field, and they have to stop that offense again. And yeah, just to add on top of the non-complimentary, that was just tough to watch all the way around.
Yeah, and credit to the Commanders, Dan Quinn and those guys. They were ready. I mean, they wanted to play the Lions. They didn't have any bones about it, and they, come in with a rookie quarterback. So it's kind of a deceiving team, so to speak. We touched on it in the previous show. One of the oldest teams. It was the oldest team left in the playoff round there, even with a rookie quarterback. Still, young at the quarterback position, but old and veterans all over that team. So these guys have experience, and they were ready. They were ready for the Lions, and I think, as much as the bye week helped the Lions try to recoup and get some guys healthy, it really didn't. I don't know. I was just thinking about this in my head. I feel like if they hadn't had a bye week, they'd almost come out stronger. I just feel like they weren't ready. They weren't ready for this Commanders team. They weren't. I don't want to say they overlooked them, but just not ready to play football yesterday. And Dan said it in his press conference about how just didn't have them ready, and that's his classic line. Are you guys sick of hearing that?
I feel like that's just kind of his go-to. It didn't feel like that to me yesterday. I think the one he really took to heart was the 12 men on the field. And yeah, he's going to do that. That's Dan's thing. But like, is that not on AG a little bit more? And Ben, you said it in the group chat. Does that not like, I'm not going to sit here and blame the injuries. The injuries are the injuries. Like everyone's talked about it enough. The defense has been the defense again. There was a mirage against the Vikings, and maybe we were fooled. But like, to me, that's on Aaron Glenn and the positional group guys that are like, what are we doing? So yeah, I don't know. That didn't have them ready. I don't know if I saw that yesterday. I saw a moment that was too big for the quarterback and a defense that got exposed.
Yeah, the only thing I can believe, because I hate when Dan says I didn't have them ready, because Dan's the ultimate get guys ready. So I don't think that's an excuse for Dan to use. But Mitchell, I think you're right. It's kind of like a safety blanket comment. That's what he always
goes. He's covered
goes.
For his guys. He's taking ownership. He doesn't want to throw anyone under the bus.
Exactly. Yeah. But like, at what point does it become? I didn't have the like seventh string guy that we just signed that played one snap in preseason for us. So
yeah,
I didn't have him ready.
But that's why you saw Jared, like, again, basically in tears, and they're like, yeah, Dan said like it was on him, and Jared's like, it's not, but that's why we love him. Yep, that makes sense, and he's gonna keep doing that, and that's why people want to stay. That's probably why Ben stayed another year. You want to run it back. The guy's just infectious. Why they're attractive for free agents and all that stuff. Again, I think Dan's getting a lot of heat, unwarranted, in my opinion. I still don't understand, biased or not biased. I think the people out there that are still on the Dan Campbell's just a meathead thing are just more like, you just don't know the game. You just don't. Like, I think there's a ton of NFL franchises out there that are like, oh, hey, maybe the head coach doesn't have to be the best play caller on either side of the ball. Maybe the head coach really has to just be this guy that knows how to build a team, build a culture, get guys to buy it. Dave Phipp said that. I don't know if you guys saw that article, but they essentially asked Phipp if he would be interested in being a head coach, and he said no. And he basically said, like, franchises should be looking for guys like Dan Campbell that are true leaders of the game and want guys to succeed. So I don't know. I think it just all speaks to Dan and his character and why guys love being there. But again, to the fools out there that are like just roasting Dan, that's just kind of low-hanging fruit that doesn't really play. It's hard. How can you say that about a guy that turned around one of the losingest franchises in NFL history, and now they've gone 15-2, 12-5, 9-8? Like, how are we going to say that?
Bingo. Exactly. And you just touched on my point that I was going to bring up. I told you guys, but one season in a total rebound year did Dan Campbell go under 500. So I don't see the argument there. And like you said, Mitch, He's what some have said is, the meathead comments. He's a cheerleader, but it's so much more than that. It's about, like what you said. It's about putting guys in position to make plays, and that's what he does. Is he gets hit between him and Brad. They assemble a team. They've got coordinators that they trust, they know, and that trust them. And there's that mutual trust, and they just go out there and make plays and trust each other to do their jobs, and that's the beauty of it. And you don't need somebody who's maybe an expert play caller or that's great with the X's and O's. So that's why, like you've touched on, Mitch, I think that's why Aaron Glenn probably is a good head coach, because he similarly has that same embodiment in his build. So I think that's why teams are attracted to Aaron Glenn for that reason. So
I think that's the only reason we may keep Ben Johnson.
Yeah, because he's a genius at what he does with the play calls, but
X's and
much to be seen about outside of that.
And I'm sure he does great with like positional group guys as, small groups. He does great. I don't know what he is large scale. I'm not at practice. I don't know. But that may be the only reason we hold on to Ben.
Yeah, we don't know. We'll probably know that for the next episode. Now with this team eliminated, those guys are free to go wherever they wish, and they obviously had a ton of interviews. And I told you guys about it. We don't have to spend much time on it, but a lot of people online discussing about how the coordinators weren't ready for this and that they were too focused on the interviews. Do we want to fully dismiss that and just call those casuals
that's
out?
Trash. That's such a lazy take. Stop. Because these guys took a grand total of like 16 hours off to do interviews. That's so lazy. On a week where they had extra time to prep. Stop.
Exactly. And they do those interviews before any of those games take place. So it's not like you can say they should have been prepping for the Commanders. They didn't even know who they would be playing. It could have been the Commanders, could have been the Rams, could have been the Vikings. They didn't know. Could have been the Packers. So they didn't know. There's not a lot you can focus on in that week anyway. Dan was pushing these guys to go out there and do it. He wants these guys to go out and spread their wings. So yeah, that's a lazy take. There's a lot of lazy takes being thrown around right now, and everybody's grasping at things on who to blame. Is it Goff? Is it Dan? Is it Brad? Is it Aaron? Is it Ben? Is it Detroit? I don't know. I do think there's something to be said about the fans that just immediately go flip on these teams, right? And flip on Jared, flip on Dan. I think that's an overreaction, and I feel like it's not exclusive to Detroit, but it is a little bit more prevalent, I think, here. What do you guys think? Do you think that's more common here, or are we just so in close with the Detroit fans? I don't know.
Couldn't be me.
Yeah, I mean,
I was in a dark spot. I've been in a dark spot for about. We're rolling on 24 hours.
Can I make you guys feel better really quick?
Yeah,
please
do.
The Giants GM, who continues to get dragged for the Saquon thing. You guys want a quick update on Saquon's stat line against the Rams? That game's all but over. 196 yards, 2 touchdowns, 8.2 yards a touch. It's pretty good. He also has 27 yards receiving, so he's over 200 on the day.
He wasn't going to do that on the Giants.
No, he wasn't. I don't. It's so reactionary, and it's like part of the fandom, right? Like, I can't fathom being those guys, and you can see some of the stuff out there that's like they're packing their lockers and they're like, yeah, we weren't prepared to do this. Like, we weren't prepared to do this. And it's the same thing for us. Like, it's so emotional, and Andrew was saying some things. He's probably going to walk back in a day or two, and I've been pretty harping on Goff pretty bad. That's just part of the game. I think there are people, though.
I still say trade him, not Goff, but Waymo.
Yeah, no, not that. I don't think you're. I'm not talking about your Waymo take. I'm just talking about the fact that you were renouncing your fandom in general.
I'm still on the fence with it. I don't know if they've earned it yet.
Yeah, we might have to leak those chats. I don't know.
Put those out there. I don't know. It's tough. I think you almost have to give everyone like a week grace period to kind of process it. And it's so odd to say, like, as fans, but it just is what it is. I think, like you said, Ben, probably by Friday, we're gonna know which coordinators, if either, we keep, and maybe it takes another week or two to find out. Like, all right, who are those? How do those guys get replaced? And it's like you hit the soft reset button because we've had this same crew for 2 years now, and everything's been working so well. 2 years, the last 2 years when everything's been clicking, I should say. I don't know. I don't blame anybody for kind of reacting the way that they have. It's just so raw.
It is so
14
raw.
points to Washington really fucking hurts.
14?
Oh, God, with some more.
What do you
Did
mean?
they not lose by 14 points?
Oh, losing by 14.
Oh,
Yeah.
losing
Yeah.
by 14.
And,
Yeah.
and back to your point, Mitch, about the game when it was 10 points. Did it not feel like it was 100 points at that point? 48 to 38
because,
or 38 to 28, whatever it
I knew that
was.
defense was never going to get a stop.
yeah, their only hope was to get out in front and get one stop. That's what had to happen, and it just
That's what they've been
didn't. I mean,
living and dying by.
Yeah,
Needed
they had
a
to get
turnover.
out in front.
Needed a turnover. It was the 49ers game that was it had a similar feel to the 49ers game when they went to Santa Clara. And was that the game Kirby had 2 INTs? Like, that was the difference, and it just didn't happen in this game. And Jaden Daniels in that offense, Cliff Kingsbury, they were prepared. The screen passes, they knew what to do against Aaron Glenn, and Aaron Glenn just didn't have an adjustment to it. And that's kind of what I said in the preview, is adjustments were going to determine that game. And
Yeah, but to Andrew's point, though, it's like bring 4, no pressure. Bring 5, no pressure. Blitz packages from how many different positional groups, no pressure. Like, that's why I texted you guys, and it's like, I don't even know if it was a scheme thing. Yeah, I don't know if it was a scheme thing. It just, nobody won individual battles all night long. That's what it was. No, there was not a hat on a hat situation where the Lions won on defense. So I don't really blame AG. Again, that's a lazy take to me online when people are like, "Oh, AG like cost himself a coaching job." Why? Because he was playing with people off the streets. Someone who had 1 snap all year was in at safety. Stop.
yeah, that was crazy. And the Commanders put up 45 points, but 7 of those off of a pick 6, and a lot of those off of 3-4 turnovers. They ended up the day 5 turnovers. So
4 basically. I mean, the last one was nothing,
Right.
but yeah.
Right, didn't mean anything. Time of possession, all that. Just didn't win.
Rams
just
are
didn't
in one,
win.
boys. They just went down the field quick in about a minute and a half. 28-22.
28-21. Now they went.
Getting stopped right
You're
there
ahead of
and
me.
tackled.
Still 3rd and goal here.
Loss of yards is not good there.
And now, okay, here's the PAT. Okay, how many timeouts do they have?
3. This
Okay.
game is not over.
So they don't have to. They don't have to onside here.
Should we let Andrew know he's froze and maybe Mute Monster got him?
I think the laptop died. Tablet died. I think she called it. I think she's over and out. Oh, wait.
No,
We've
he's
got
back.
movement.
He back.
We've got. By the way, that studio is set up. Shout out to the
Studio's
YouTube.
looking good timing.
Yeah, we might have to. God, it looks like he's in a bunker.
Spent all his money on the studio, can't afford his internet.
Yeah, can't afford to watch
Tough
the
looks.
Lions. Oh, wait, they're not fucking playing anymore. Losers.
Oh, 2 F-bombs in one episode.
Jesus.
For Mr. Clean himself too.
Yeah.
Usually keeps it clean, but on a day like you said, Mitch, on a day that we're also raw, a lot of raw comments today. But
Usually it's the depressing
yeah, I mean,
Monday.
I
Came on a Sunday
I can
this
speak
week.
for myself on that. Did not expect. Oh, he's talking, but I don't know if it's delayed.
Ooh, am I that
I think we
delayed?
just have to keep talking, and he needs to be like Andrew, you're gonna have to dip out and
Self-aware.
come back in. Yeah,
That bad?
it's bad. Dude.
Oh.
It's real bad,
Well,
bad. You look like
I
Mona
think it's
Lisa
caught-
right now.
I think it's
Am I
caught
there?
up. Yeah, I think you're back.
No, he's
No,
gone.
Mitchell, now it seems like an issue for you. Wait, you guys can't see me? I can see you.
Oh
Just-
my God!
You gotta mute
Did-
him. You gotta mute him, and we gotta move on.
Where were we though? That's the
I
thing.
have no idea.
We said this episode was going to be off the wall.
Oh, it's bad.
Yeah, Andrew or Mitch, you spoke on it pre-show here. Just how what's up with Goff, man, and his games where he can be Mr. Serviceable so many games in a row, and then when he has a bad one, why is it so
It's so bad.
extreme?
It's so bad.
I told the shareholder like, the ceiling for him, we know what that is, but his floor is
It's rock
tough.
bottom. It's rock bottom, and I don't know. I don't want to beat a dead horse. I placed a ton of last night on Goff. I just like the pick six is like into triple coverage. The fumble, just no awareness whatsoever. I talked to you guys about the interception to JMO, and it's like, yeah, the argument could be made. Maybe JMO has to like run that up a little skinnier and kind of try and box out, but still, like Goff, he has the guy beat. Just like throw it horizontally. Yeah, he just played bad last night. He just played bad.
And he's always, he's had his fair share of interceptions. That's not as a surprise. Last year he had that big interceptionless streak, of course, but not somebody who's been so known for the fumbles this year. And he's had a couple that got called back that were very close, to being fumbles that didn't get called fumbles. So I don't know. Ball security's been an issue for him, and that was really the turning point for me. I know we were texting about it in the group chat when it happened.
Lighting.
It was like feels very important in a game like this, especially where the Lions were with that ball up 7-3, about to probably put on another touchdown. For me, that changed the complete complexity of the game, and at that point, you're now in the hole, and they never found themselves back out. So,
I think it's big on the fumble. That was so early though. They could have come back from that. They just never.
No doubt, but I think that just changed their mindset. I think they weren't ready to play this team from behind. If they would have never lost the lead from that fumble, or even if they do lose the lead quickly there and come back, I don't know. I feel like they got down and just never were able to get themselves.
Sorry,
back up.
I hate to keep doing this. It's 3rd and 19. Eagles 3rd and 19 right now with 2:40 left. The Rams are very much alive.
I don't know what you guys were talking about. Sounds like if you like moments we knew the game was over.
Just how bad you were before this.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know
about
if you
how
guys
you're a Raiders
remember.
fan now.
Yeah, well, they're a good second team. They flashed to Ben Johnson at one point, and he looked like very nervous behind his play sheet. I don't know if you guys recall exactly what I'm talking about. Is it that bad? Again?
Is there a storm hitting Grand Rapids right now? Mitch, you're very clean, so I'm guessing not. But
it's snowing. It's snowing pretty good. It is.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, but I know what Andrew's talking about. I think, and I'm gonna try and pick up where he's leaving off here. It feels like they panned to Ben, and he just like he looked like he had given up. Like I feel like he kind of was just like, it's like read the room. It's like, oh shit, like Jared's gonna have one of those days.
Yeah, you know what it reminded me of was Kevin O'Connell when Sam Darnold was kind of having his implosion.
Yep.
Where I don't know if you guys caught that in the Rams game last week in the wild card, but you look at Kevin O'Connell and the body language of that sidelines, and it was just like, even though the game wasn't over by any means, it was just like Kevin O'Connell was like, it's just not today. Sam's not going to be what we needed him to be today. And that's what I think what you're speaking on. And I've kind of felt that too from Dan too. I just felt like you could see it on their faces. Like they just weren't ready for how yesterday panned out and kind of got blindsided by the Commanders. Yeah. I mean, we spoke about the Commanders, the cardiac Commanders, as so many call them, and how many close games they had. You flip-flop their one-score games, they missed the playoffs. So I'm not taking anything away from the Commanders, but I don't know. I just feel like it just wasn't there, and you kind of felt it all night. I felt good. Andrew said it. He's not here right now, but he said he didn't like the trajectory of the game when that happened or around that point. And Mitch, you and I were both like, I was feeling good up until that point. I mean, the defense had gotten not really a true stop on 4th down, and they held the Commanders to a field goal. I was feeling pretty good at that point. I felt like if they go up 14-3, I don't know. I think it all happened there for me. Not to keep speaking on the same thing,
Yeah,
but
I don't know. It's just like I feel like I can't really say more than just like the defense got just torched, and we didn't have an answer. Again, you turn the ball over. You can't overcome 4 turnovers. You just can't. Like not
no.
against a lethal offense like that. The yeah. So
Got away
I don't
with
know.
it against
I
the
don't have,
Texans
yeah.
earlier this year, but just you're not.
But
That
again,
was a different
that was
situation,
complementary football.
right?
Your quarterback is wetting himself on the field, and your defense is standing on their head.
Yeah,
I don't think I have. I feel like I'm tapped. Like I just like
I know.
that's what it was yesterday. It's hard to say anything else.
Yeah, you almost feel numb to it. Just you know what this team was in the regular season, going 15-2, and for it to end this way, it's just tough. It's shocking. I think, like you said, it was shocking to that team too. I think the only time, if you want to give credit somewhere, is when they got the stop out of the half and then scored. That was the only time they played complimentary football all game, and then it just never built on that. I told you guys at
Yeah.
the time they needed to build on that, and they just couldn't do it. And that's when I was like, this team's just they don't deserve to win. They don't deserve to win. So
Yeah. No, they didn't. Um,
2-minute warning
and
in this Rams game.
I know. I'm excited. Do you have a BAMS player?
No, I didn't put one down. Just kind of kind of sick on all this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even gonna put the halftime capsules in here. I just don't feel great about it. I guess if I had to come up with one off the top of my head, I thought Gibbs played really well, and I would say honorable mention to Christian Mahogany for stepping in for Big Z on his first ever playoff start.
Yep.
I thought he did really well, and I think well, much is to be seen in the offseason, but he could be that guard of the future. Whether Zeitler moves on or Glasgow needs a break, I don't know, but Mahogany played well.
Yeah, I think Gibbs is up there. I don't know why he wasn't featured more, but again, I don't want to talk about that anymore. Laporta played really well too. I thought Laporta
that sticky
grab
hand.
was woo boy after he took a shot earlier in the game. So yeah, Laporta and Gibbs up there for me, and then I just after the game to throw in a normal like not player. I just can't help but like the emotion from Dan after the game. It's just, like he just cares so much. Like you can just tell, and I think like he always has sideline composure, and then he just like lets it rip. Again, I just think he's a great leader. But Gibbs and Laporta. But I think Laporta played a great game. Sun God obviously super super reliable. I think he had a drop, but it was late in the game. You could tell he was just gassed. Like all the guys, I think. All the guys that needed to step up on offense stepped up except for one.
Yeah, in a moment where you just can't, you can ill afford it, and it sucks. It just sucks so much. But you're right. Dan Campbell, we love you. I don't think there's anybody else for the job. Anybody else couldn't have done the turnaround that he has, and I think he's here for a long time. And maybe that's a good port or a good time, natural time for us to go talk about it. What do we see for the future? I think I've got more faith in Dan than I ever have. Where do you sit? I feel you're probably in the same spot.
Yeah, I agree. And I kind of texted you guys. Like I think Ben and Aaron are both gone. I think they've got some guys in house. Obviously, like Shepard is the one that we've talked about a few times. Like I think that makes a ton of sense. I think he brings a lot of the AG energy where it's like he's up and down on the sideline. Like he looks, I don't know, he's just very passionate. And then they've got Tanner Engstrand, their passing game coordinator. I think he's been floated around. I think, those guys step up. But I feel like they're in great hands with DC. I think, as long as you still have the glue guy, we might just see a little bit more of like the year 1, year 2 fight where it's like, hey, we're not giving up. Like we're just gonna keep punching you in the mouth all the time. Not as ton of like fancy bells and whistles. What happened?
Big catch from Puka Nakua.
Let's go. First down?
Big first down. 25 yards. 25-yard pass from Stafford, putting it in the bucket there. On Slay, by the way. Darius. But you're right, and I'll touch on a point that you said about this topic in the group chat, Mitch, was, these guys are always going to be competitive. I think no matter the schedule, and maybe they play better in that role. Maybe this team off a 10, 11 win season in the regular season is better off in the playoffs and has more hunger and more fight. Maybe that's just in their role. Number one seed. Yeah. Maybe that's not what they need. Maybe that's not what the Super Bowl, that we all are hoping for. Maybe that's not the formula that they take to get there. I think we'll look back at this year. If we want to talk about that, talk about the window, the door, whatever you want to call it for this team. That in the NFL, it's always so short, these windows and these doors. So it's hard to say what point we are at in that. But, I think we'll look back at this year, maybe optimistically of me here, maybe a little delusional, a little delulu. But I think we'll look back at this year as a year that could have had another one, but I don't think this is going to be our only opportunity this year and last year. I think there's going to be more to come, and it's too many guys coming back. We'll touch on the free agents here in a minute, but too many guys coming back, and the team too young. Obviously not getting any younger, but still kind of middle of the pack as far as age goes. I think there's still so much more to come from these guys, even if they do lose both those coordinators.
And let me ask you guys, I think I texted you guys this. I would have rather they lost to the Vikings and won in the wild card than got the 1 seed and not got Ben. Your preseason pick was the season's a disappointment if they don't win a playoff game, and I'm with you. Like, I think I would label it's so hard though, because they won a franchise record, they won 15 games, everything was going so right, but it's like Dan said this too. You don't play for that stuff. You play for the big one, and you don't get a playoff win. It hurts so bad.
Yeah, we laughed so much at the Vikings coming at 14 wins and then losing to the Rams in the wild card. And then here's the Lions, had a bye week, made it to the divisional round via that. It's a disappointment to me, for sure. And obviously last year was awful too. Stafford just got sacked, by the way, on a 3rd and 2.
It all comes down to this.
Tough for that 6-point game, but Andrew, we got you back, I think, maybe?
You got me? Damn. That's tough.
Damn.
He gone. This is such a tough one, but let me say, this is karma for the shit he was saying in our group chat.
Yeah, he was going through it, but I think a lot of Lions fans were, just for all the reasons that you just said, Mitch, to go 15-2 in the regular season and have, Rams.
That's a heartbreaker. I wanted it. And this is another thing, like, I don't understand. I can't comprehend the Lions fans that are just like, Stafford's gone. Yeah, when we play the Rams, sure. But, like, being able to separate what he did for the franchise, what him and his family did for the city of Detroit is... It would have been nice to see him get another one, or at least make a deep run.
Right. Andrew says it's running fine on his end, but not so sure. And it does. It does look like he's like fully 74% uploaded. So I don't know. I can't pause it. I think he restarted internet and computer. Tough look. But it does look like it's going to be the Eagles versus the Commanders. NFC East matchup. Yeah, as the Eagles kneel it out, victory formation in the snow there. Got ourselves a snow game. Got ourselves an NFC championship that's going to include the NFC East battle in Philly. Philly's going to get another home game. That's disgusting. Anybody but the Eagles or the Chiefs?
Chiefs. Anybody but the Chiefs, 1. Anybody but the Eagles, 1A.
Yeah. Not that I have really anything against the Eagles, but just don't like them. Andrew, you got a BAMS player?
Got to give that one to the fans.
Jake Bates, is that what I heard?
Fans. Woo!
You know what's funny, Mitch, is that I'm quite sure that in the final recording that that the shareholders will hear, this will all be there. Like, his is recorded fine for that, but for our communications, can't hear shit.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
That Andrew guy is really good looking. If that's the case, and they're going to come through, Mitchell and Ben can both suck on my wee wee.
We almost had him for. Man, and we.
Well, listen, Ben. So since we can't really maybe is the move to kind of wrap it up and talk free agents on the next episode.
Yeah, probably give it some time. Like we kind of hinted at, there's certainly some big names on that list, but it's not. Yeah. It's not as obviously they're going to bring some of those guys back. So to me, it's not a list. If we want to give just initial reactions to the free agency list, to me, it's not a list that scares me.
Yeah, I mean, they're locking their core guys down. Or they did in the offseason. The rest are still on some of their rookie deals. So, I don't think it's a huge deal. I'm with you. Carlton Davis is up there. Zeitler's up there. They can figure out a way around that.
Yeah, and maybe Zeitler's not. With the play that we're seeing out of Christian Mahogany, certainly looks like it. But also, I think on the other side of that coin is Graham Glasgow, who's not on the list. He's been locked down for a few more years, but his play has really been in question, and on an offensive line that's been so sharp, he's kind of that low man right now.
Yeah.
To me. So yeah. I mean, we'll go on that. If he's probably a big one, Levi. Yeah, that top five, and outside the top five, so Carlton Davis, Zeitler, Levi, Barnes, Iffy, that top five, and outside of that, it's a lot of guys that will probably join us on short deals, team-friendly deals. So those are the big ones. Carlton Davis is going to demand the most money, and based on the play that we're seeing from that secondary, can kind of have to get him back with the secondary the way it is, but we'll see. I think that's a good point. Mitch. I think we'll focus more of that energy in the next episode.
Give it time.
Right now, it's just kind of, take time to process it. It sucks. We were all hoping after last year, but just the injury gods, the football gods, were seemingly against them, and you thought the curse of Bobby Lane was gone. Shout out Jeff Daniels and Peyton Manning, but hey, much to be seen. There's still so much to come from these guys, this coaching staff, and probably going to lose some guys, but come back stronger. That's all we can do. It sucks, and we can sit here all day talking about what yesterday was and wasn't, but all we can do is look to next season and trust that these guys in place have the guys in place. So next episode will be midweek February, the week of the Super Bowl on February 9th. So we'll return probably that Wednesday, the 5th. We'll go back through a walkthrough Wednesday. At that point, we should know who's leaving from the coaching staff, who's probably replacing those spots that do leave us, and we'll know a little bit of light shined into free agents as far as where they're leaning or not leaning. So we'll have more information on that. Hopefully some more positive news to talk about. Felt like it was kind of negative today, but how can you not be after a day like, we're not going to sit here and blow roses around after what happened yesterday. Just not a lot of good. So it sucks, but we thank you all for being here. Shareholders, we hope this was therapeutic to you, and Lions fans, you got to stay strong. This is not the time to jump off the bandwagon. Got to stay strong. Got to see that Honolulu Blue pride out there in the streets. So let's go, Lions.
Some of you are going to jump off.
What? We need you to do the meow, dude.
I didn't think you guys could hear me.
Meow. Oh, buddy, we sure can. We've been able to hear you this whole time.
You sons of bees. I've been sitting here silently.
Oh, now we got
back
him.
Now
We got him loud and clear.
Oh, I've been sitting here silently for so long.
Oh, I think we lost him again. It's only when you talk for longer than 10 seconds.
Son of
So
a.
Ooh, yeah, and he's gone.
This is some interstellar shit.
I think it's a perfect summation that we just awkwardly sit here, and at some point we know there will be a meow.
Meow.
See you before the Super Bowl.